Hi, welcome back everybody. You're with Mr. Bachatsky and we're continuing on our series of becoming a better writer. And there's my little dog Buster. Now Buster is not too happy with me at the moment. He's watched the video on verb tense. He understands past, present and future verb tenses. He's got all of that, but he's taken me to task because what I showed you was pretty simple, and in fact it was probably a bit too simple. So we've got to have a look at a little bit more at verb tense, and that's what we're doing in this video. We're looking at advanced verb tense. So certainly for those who are interested in getting an A in this section, this is what you're going to have to know and practice. But really for everybody, there's some important things to know about verb tenses. So let's have a look at the first very important thing. Okay, in your text, boys and girls, you can change verb tense. Sometimes only if it makes sense. Okay, we've got a little bit of an excerpt here from a text written by a student. It's a journal, a part of their journal, and I want you to just read it now. I want you to pause me and read it to yourself and see what you think. Okay, so hopefully you've paused me now and you've read that. First question is, does it make sense? Hopefully your answer is yes, it does make sense. It's perfectly sensible. The second question is, what types of verbs have we got here? What tenses of verbs? Okay, remember this is a journal article, and I think I said in the last video, it's got to be in the past tense. Well, if you look at the first sentence here, you'll notice that are helping is a verb, and it's in the present tense. Okay, same with the second sentence. It's also in the present tense. Now, it actually does make sense, even though it's in the present tense, because this journal writer is writing about things that are actually continuing on. They're happening at the moment as he's writing his article. And then he finishes off with the past tense. They have banned the killing of all of us. And so that's something that they did in the past. I'm talking about the scientists have banned the killing of these beautiful creatures here, the elephant seals. Okay, so we've got present tense in our journal article, and we've also got past tense, and they're side by side, and it does make sense. So boys and girls, forget what I said last video. You can change tenses, but you've got to be very careful. Most of it will be in the past tense, and certainly it's got to make sense. That's the main thing, guys. It's got to make sense. Okay, very important that I said that. Now, the next thing to know is that there's more verb tenses than just the three basic ones, okay? I mean, they all fit under those three basic headings of past, present, and future, but they're a little bit more complicated than that. So look at this sentence here. I had been watching the humans for hours when a strange man came towards us. Okay, now you could look at those verbs and you could say, well, they're in the past tense, and they all are. Okay, all those red verbs are in the past tense. One of them is just a very simple past tense. Okay, in fact, what we call the past simple tense, and that word is came. Okay, there's one verb, it's simple, it's called the past simple tense. But if you look at the first sentence there, or the first part, I had been watching, this is what we call the past perfect continuous tense. So I'm just going to pop that up the top here if I can. There we go. All right, I had been watching. We've actually got two extra verbs there, or parts of the verb, and it's a bit more complicated than just a simple one past tense verb. Okay, now you might like to know that there are about 12 of these different advanced verb tenses. Okay, so if you're really keen to find out what they are and learn a bit more about those, there is a link on the Year 5 website. Just underneath where you've clicked on this video, you'll be able to go and have a look at a website there that explains those 12 different complex verb tenses in a little bit more detail than I can do in this video. But there you go, guys. It's a bit more complex than just past, present, and future. Now, finally, there's one other type of verb that we do use in English called modal verbs. Okay, you've heard of high modality and low modality. Well, that's where we get this from. The base word is modal. Okay, and so here are some of the modal verbs we use: should, would, could, may, might, and must. So in this sentences here, I would like to go home now. Jack should not have pushed Jill. And so you can see The main verbs are go and pushed, but we've added these extra, what we call modal verbs, to make sense of it. Okay, you wouldn't just say I go home now, or Jack pushed Jill. You could say that, but these extra modal verbs that we add on to those change the meaning and make it a bit more specific in terms of what we want to say. So there you go, boys and girls. A little bit more about verb tenses there, a bit more advanced. The main thing to remember, guys, if we go back here, is that you can change verb tense in your text sometimes, but only if it makes sense. Okay. Well, you don't have to do any particular practice, but you might like to go and do a little bit more research into different verb tenses after this video, and keep thinking, does my text make sense? That's the main thing. Okay, we're done.